broken heart, the quiet execution. When trust becomes a threat. I used to believe betrayal would be loud, screaming, slamming doors, a visible, fiery rupture. Instead, it arrived in a silence deep enough to steal my breath. My mother stood in that packed courtroom, her sobs soft, perfectly modulated. "We gave you every opportunity," she whispered, shaking her head. "And you threw it away." My father offered no defense, he simply watched, his single, controlled nod landing like a hammer blow. My brother, Marcus, stared straight ahead, already calculating the profit from my presumed collapse. My lawyer, a pillar of composure, was calm. Too calm. The judge stopped reading. He looked up, slowly, his gaze sweeping the room before settling on me. He mentioned seeing my company in the news last week. Before I detail the deliberate path that led to that moment, understand this. I didn't grow up in a broken home. That's the part that still confuses everyone when I tell this story. From the outside, my family was a portrait of Boston elite, polished, comfortable, a testament to structure, legacy, and predictability. My father ran an established financial business. He lived for it. My mother lived for appearances, perfect dinners, perfect smiles, tears timed for maximum effect. Marcus, my older brother, was the designated heir, the one everyone expected to inherit without ever questioning his desire or his worthiness. I was the other one. Not a rebel in the dramatic sense. I didn't scream or break things, I simply didn't fit. While Marcus talked portfolios and networking, I was fascinated by unseen systems, how they worked, how they broke, and how they could be fortified. I once tried to explain an early concept over a cooling Sunday roast, sketching on a napkin. My father smiled, the indulgent, dismissive smile you reserve for a child's make-believe game. "That's a phase," he said. "You'll grow out of it." My mother laughed lightly and changed the subject. Those moments accumulated. Holidays where Marcus was lauded for incomplete ventures. Conversations that ceased when I entered the room. Compliments that always came with an implied correction. "You're talented, but if only you'd." When I finally left, it wasn't a final argument, just a quiet, intentional distance. I married James, took his name, and began building something from scratch, without announcing it to anyone who had predicted my failure. And it worked. Not easily, but persistently. There were years when my entire world fit into a cramped apartment, fueled by cold coffee and a laptop on a folding table. I learned to survive on focus and stubbornness. I learned to keep going without applause. What I didn't do was correct my family's assumptions. When Marcus joked I was still figuring things out, I let him. When my mother asked too sweetly about my finances, I deflected. It felt safer, like keeping a door shut when you anticipate a storm. Silence, I thought, was my protection. I didn't realize it was simply buying them time to decide what they thought I deserved. And when they finally noticed my success, something real, something valuable, they weren't impressed. They were threatened. Success arrived not with fireworks, but in small, quiet confirmations. A contract renewed without negotiation. Clients who stopped asking if and started asking how soon, new faces trusting me with their livelihoods. I maintained a low profile, keeping my name off headlines. When my mother asked vague questions, I gave vague answers. Technology. Consulting. Busy. Nothing impressive enough to invite scrutiny. The shift began subtly. Marcus's messages slipped into group chats. heard text volatile. Must be stressful not having stability. Always a smile, never a laugh. Then my father's inquiry sharpened, not about me, but about risk, liability, and whether people like you understood consequences. The turning point was the dinner. Marcus dropped an offhand comment about me having finally landed something decent. It was framed as a joke, but his eyes were calculating, measuring my ascent beyond his control. That night, I told James that something felt profoundly wrong. He simply nodded. He understood the shape of it. The way curiosity turns to entitlement when certain people realize you've earned something they didn't authorize. 2 weeks later, the thick, official envelope arrived. My name was printed on the front with chilling precision. Keys still in hand, I stared at it. When I opened it, the legal terms blurred: bankruptcy, petition, creditor, amount owed, $2 million. Marcus's name was printed there, a bold, confident lie. This wasn't an angry threat. It was a calm, methodical execution plan. I called my lawyer. "They're trying to force a bankruptcy process," she said, her voice a steady bomb. "Not because the claim will hold up, but because it creates noise, delays, and doubt. So they know it's fake," I stated, the coldness returning. "Yes. And they're counting on you reacting emotionally instead of strategically." The weight landed. This wasn't Marcus acting alone. This took coordination, time, and approval. Someone had nodded and said, "Go ahead." I thought of my mother's perfect silences, my father's belief that discipline always looked like punishment. I didn't ask if they were involved, I knew. The days blurred into a marathon of audits and records. My lawyer's confidence became my anchor. "This only works if we let it," she insisted. "Truth has a way of surviving pressure." I chose silence, not for protection, but as strategy. They wanted chaos. I would give them precision. They wanted a reckless daughter. I would be controlled. The courtroom felt colder than its temperature suggested. My lawyer sat beside me, a personification of preparation, neat stacks of documents, audited records, unhurried, composed. My family arrived separately, confirming the alignment. My mother, dressed in funereal black. Marcus, confident, shaking hands with his attorney. My father, rigid, refusing to look in my direction. No one acknowledged me. Marcus's attorney began, smooth and practiced, portraying my company as unstable and poorly managed. My mother started crying on cue, soft, heartbreaking, dabbing her eyes. "We gave her every opportunity," she cracked, her voice wavering perfectly. "And she threw it all away." My father's single, controlled nod was the final, devastating confirmation. Marcus stared ahead, already counting his gains. My lawyer didn't object. She waited. The judge reviewed the documents in silence until a single page stopped him. He removed his glasses, set them down carefully, and looked up. Not at the lawyers, but at me. "I need counsel to approach the bench," he stated. Marcus' lawyer walked with bravado, only to stiffen halfway. My lawyer moved with the same unhurried pace. Their whispered conference ended quickly. The judge did not replace his glasses. "I have a question," his voice was steady, carrying across the silent room. "About the company at the center of this petition." Marcus finally looked up. "I read about this company last week," the judge continued. "Not in a filing. In a publication." My mother's crying stopped mid-breath. Marcus's eyes flicked to his lawyer. "A technology firm," the judge said slowly, growing rapidly, providing services at a level that caught national attention. He paused, letting the weight of the statement settle. Does that sound familiar to you, Mr. Whitmore? Marcus stood. Your Honor, with respect, the defendant is exaggerating her success. I haven't finished, the judge cut him off cleanly. I'm looking at audited financial records. They show consistent revenue growth, significant reserves, no indication of insolvency. He turned a page. I'm also looking at payment records that do not align with the obligations claimed in this petition. And then there's this, the judge said, holding up a document. Independent, detailed signature analysis. He looked directly at Marcus. These signatures do not match the defendant's handwriting. The air went thin. My father leaned forward. My mother's hand froze. My lawyer rose calmly. Your Honor, we are prepared to walk the court through each inconsistency. The payments referenced do not exist. The alleged loan occurred during a period where the petitioner's own financial records show instability. Furthermore, interfering with an active, successful company through fraudulent filings carries serious implications. This is ridiculous. Marcus shot to his feet. She's twisting facts. The judge's gaze remained unmoving. What concerns me is not her defense. It's your certainty. He flipped a final page. Someone in this courtroom, he said slowly, is lying to my face. And based on what I am seeing, it is not the defendant. My mother's eyes darted to my father, who didn't look back. Marcus was speechless. I am dismissing this petition, the judge announced, with prejudice. He added, with devastating finality, this matter will also be referred for further review. Court officers approached Marcus and his attorney. My family suddenly looked smaller, folded in on themselves. As we stood, my mother reached for my arm, panic replacing the tears. Alexis, she whispered. We were trying to help. I looked at her hand, then at her face. No, I said, my voice quiet, but unshakable. You were trying to be right. I turned away, hearing my father call my name. I didn't stop. The courtroom doors closed with a sound that felt absolutely final. For the first time, I wasn't bracing for impact. I was walking away from it. The fallout was quiet, like the betrayal itself. Marcus stopped calling. The details filtered through the edges, reviews, questions, things being looked into. My parents tried a different approach, a soft, careful voicemail from my mother, a message from my father that sounded more like a closing statement than an apology, talking about family and reputation. I didn't respond. Not out of spite, but out of clarity. What they'd done wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. Work resumed. My team showed up as they always had, focused, steady, their trust grounding me more than any verdict. At home, the quiet tension released its grip. My success no longer felt like something I had to defend. I didn't win by watching them fall. I won by standing still while the truth did what it always does. It held. I learned a lesson I wish I'd known sooner. Family is not defined by who shares your last name. It's defined by who stands beside you when the truth gets uncomfortable. Some people only love you when you're small enough to control. When you outgrow that role, they call it betrayal. If this story hit close to home, share your thoughts below. What defines true family for you?